I'm just gonna try... Okay, maybe it'll come to me as I read this dialogue what the voice should be here. Where do I even begin? State my name, sex, location? Fine, we can give a try at that if you like. As for my name, well... And that's Sonic the Hedgehog. Maybe leading to the Brooklyn? It takes sunlight to get the plant to work. Where do I even begin? State of my name, sex, name, sex, location? Well, you can give it a try if you like. As for my name, well, the first order of business is already so complicated. Oh, well, just don't laugh, will you? I didn't name myself after all. There it is. My name is Dudley Odie Burgess. Do my parents hate me? Why would you ask that? They're not too bad as far as parents go. They're just not the imaginative type, unlike myself. When they got together, all their creativity and whimsy got passed on to me. I stifled it all from them, in fact. That must be why they're so boring. Some people get the mom's hairy feet or their dad's bald spot, but for me, I lucked out and got the flair of a true thespian. I've already lost it. Shit, I had it for a second. It takes sunlight to get the plant to work. If I want to do a Brooklyn accent, I quote Richard Feynman once, and it like jumpstarts it. Actually, I'm just half lucky. Seriously, Mom, Dad, what kind of stage name is Dudley? Dudley? Dud-like? As in faulty, unsatisfactory, boring. Can this star not shine brightly in the night sky? Am I doomed to fizzle out in the start? Do they intentionally curse me, perhaps? Shall I not be the embodiment of fabled star-crossed lover? Is my destiny to remain a star-crossed... a crossed star lover instead? More importantly, is my set path in life to become a dud? Or a dud who's also ODs? Dud burgers. Can't say I've heard that one. Hilarious. No. I can't go by boigers. How ridiculous would that be? Boigers, go get the boigers. How would they know if someone's greeting me or telling me the order? I can only sigh. In fact, let me catch my breath. Oh man. This is weird. Lean into the Florida. I don't know what Florida sounds like. I literally have never heard a Floridan accent. How is this Pizzapants? I don't fucking know, dude. Is Shay here? Was Shay here? Why? Who's saying Shay? I'm sure it's fine. So my given name isn't the best. That's not really a problem, you say. You can just go by an alias, you say. A cool nickname. A cool nickname given you by your friends. Yeah, of course. Do you think I haven't thought of this? I've been creating stage names for myself since I could crawl. Well, while I crawl, gets the creative juices flowing, you see. Problem is, I'm not very lucky. Not lucky at all. I've got negative luck, in fact. You could say everyone around me enjoys my luck and leaves me with none. I'm a wretched rabbit's foot, a reverse monkey's paw. I've lost it. Definitely not a cat's paw. What are you talking about? What I'm saying is, I get all the drawbacks. Mine is the dollar bill you found on the sidewalk. You ever think about that? From where did that dollar bill you fortuned upon come? From this poor soul's pocket? Pocket? Okay, that was my lunch money. I said my parents must have cursed me with the name earlier, but I actually meant it. I'm literally cursed. Don't roll your eyes, I'm serious here. I'm the kind of person who would take responsibility for my own actions, but I can't even have the pleasure of calling it karma, since I did nothing to deserve such a thing. Who even could? What would you have to do to deserve something like this? I definitely would have avoided it. This is a lot like that spam fanfic I read. It's just a stream of consciousness. I recognize the energy. Shay's from Florida. He just sounds like a normal fucking white dude. Is default American as fuck. Manky Neko Cat's Paw, the statues that beckon customers in Asian takeouts, which I thought the pants looked like. That's the lore for the monkey's paw, cat paw. Right, okay. My complete lack of luck is astounding. Mystifying, even. That's why I call it a curse. If something bad can happen, it'll happen to me, and in a way I can't possibly foresee. Let me give some examples. Say I go to drape my coat over a puddle as a kind gesture for a lovely lady to cross the street. My phone will fall out of my pocket with my browser history open, and my keys would fall into the gutter. Why the gutter drain in the puddle? That's just my luck.
Why did I have my keys and my phone in the coat? They weren't. They were in my pants the whole time, I swear. You say that's a matter of clumsiness? Well, you don't understand at all. It's not something I can wipe to circumvent. The world's just out to make my life miserable. Yep, me specifically. Not extremely miserable, just enough to inspire me and let me get my mind into character. That's right, it's method acting. Are you impressed? My life was always destined to be a cinematic path. It doesn't have to become a great actor. In a way, it's helping me out, but it doesn't have to help me. Does it have to help me so much? All the time? Every single time? I digress. What nickname did my beloved friends give me? Ever since one incident in elementary school, I regret to inform you that my virtuous friends had been stained with the label Pizzapants. Don't laugh. Don't ask if my pants were stained too. This is clearly a crisis, a total injustice in the world. What? Of course. It was because of the curse. I didn't pee myself or nothing. I certainly bonehead bunny my...
I replaced anything with nothing, because I'm so in character right now.
A certain bonehead bunny from my class was running down the hall chugging some outrageously artificial flavored sports drinks when the locker next door swung open without any warning. He avoided the catastrophe by sidestepping, but obviously it didn't have enough brain power to pay attention to the drink in his hand, which flew all the way over to me somehow, right into my groin. I'd been rushing off to class, worried about being late for homeroom, so I barely registered anything at the moment other than the gut-wrenching feeling of being smacked square in the below the belt. When I doubled over, I saw the bottle at my feet and assumed it was some kid threw the drink at me on purpose. And that drink must have been fairly full too, because I was absolutely soaked. From the waist down, I was dripping with Radical Raspberry Razzle Dazzle Sports Bar Cooler. Yeah, from the bottle, there was evidence. Even my shirt got wet. Anyone could see it was an accident from the start. Huh, I guess that's technically an accident after all, if you say it like that. But it was Bluey's accident, though, and not my own.
I'm doing Columbo, you're fucking right. This is just Columbo now.
So, one more thing, sir. One more thing.
We gotta get Johnny in here. He can take over.
In any case, it's not like that knucklehead asked me if I was alright or nothing. No, why you hurt, nothing. He just pointed at my way and laughed, getting the attention of the other students around him. Other students started laughing too. That was when some bold asshole, most likely one of those bastards in Bluey's friend group.
Who the fuck is Bluey? Is that the ice cream guy? Who knows?
Pardon my French. Anyway, some joint called me, hey, Burgess, did you just piss your pants? Does my bladder produce razzle-dazzle flavor? Why do I keep mentioning flavor? You don't have to taste it, you can tell by the smell. The smell! Do you ever forget the smell for the rest of your life? Or you never forget the smell. Razzle-dazzle-dazzle is the smell of humiliation, okay? You didn't serve that here? Well, what a nostalgic drink. Brings back childhood memories.
When the consciousness do be streaming, though. Wow. This voice is going to give you a headache in 5 minutes? If I'm not getting a headache, then you have no excuse. I've gone more into like the Susie growl, just because it's easier. Somehow it's actually easier than doing the proper Pizzapants voice, because I can't focus on that and doing the fucking New York accent at the same time.
Back to the main point. You see, me being the kind of person who wouldn't lie down and take the mockery of my peers, I had to stand up for myself. I quickly came up with a retort to knock them off their feet. Unfortunately, that's a quip for... That quip is a your mama joke that fell flat. Fell on its face, even. Burgess, do you piss your pants? Nuh-uh, your mama pissed my pants last night. Let's not think about how one's mother would piss my pants, okay? I just brought this up to say that I was the one who got in trouble for this. Foul language, the teacher said, and they even made me call my mom and change my clothes. The janitor gave me the stink eye on the way to the office. It was humiliating. My own mother didn't take my side either. It was my fault. Okay, Mom. I'm the victim. I was bullied. That's not completely accurate. Old Bluey and the gang seemed like bullies at the time, but clearly they suffer from complete cognitive impairment. Bluey's the type who would giggle uncontrollably if he spilled his lunch tray on the floor, or if he kicked Miss Phone down 3 flights of stairs. Par for the course. I would laugh at my poetically ironic misfortunes. They happen so often. I must give him plenty of material to amuse himself. What was that look just now? You think my misfortunes are just thrust upon me? Some kind of fate to become Bluey's personal sideshow? A bird jester? That's too much, man. That's too much, man.
Who is Burger Pants talking to? He sounds like he's giving an interview. He's on Joe Rogan right now. You hope this is Pizzapants rambling for 8,000 words and has nothing to do with the ship. Oh, me too, buddy. It's a job interview? Burger Pants, you're not getting hired. You're not getting hired after this. The fucking HR exec is just sitting there like with a slack jaw as Burger Pants is like pantomiming out his life story. He's applying to work at Wendy's or something.
So obviously the name Pissy Pants wasn't a classroom appropriate, though I'm still irritated I was the only one who seemingly got in trouble for saying the word piss. I'll strike that one up to the cois. Yeah, the cois coiced me into getting caught saying the cois word. Is piss even a cois word? It's against the standards of language here. Okay. Pardon me then, it was an integral phrase to my story. You must understand. To summarize, fate had given way again. Karma, 2,000. Pizzapants, 0. Zip. Zilch. Nada. What an amazing streak, hmm?
He could be in a bar or two, that would be funny. Just rambling on at the barman. Who is, of course, Grillby, for some reason.
Oh, that's right. I was just getting to that. See, there was this other guy in my class. The type was so fragile that he cried for a whole day when his mom refused to carry him into class anymore after he graduated the first grade. Yeah, his mom carried him piggyback style into kindergarten every morning. She was also a kindergarten teacher. Sweet lady, strict but sweet. Anyway, this kid, he seriously cried with tears pouring out and snot dripping and everything for the whole day about not being pampered by his mommy. Yet I was the bullied one. Seeing that mommy was in the same building, always keeping a protective hawkeye and a young little greenhouse bud, of course no one dared bully him. In fact, everyone seemed to like him. He could do no wrong, a natural people person, blessed with charisma. I'm not jealous. I just want that for me too. So my friend Az, right? He's the one that turned up my nickname down a notch, made it more palatable, from Piss Pants to Pizza Pants. How did that go? Right, well some kid in class calls me by that awful nickname in front of the teacher. Asriel, ever absorbing and quick-witted, swooped in and came up with some elaborate story. I had to sit at my lunch tray at the cafeteria table when I got up. So pizza stayed stuck to my butt. That was supposedly the reason why kids were laughing and calling me names. And you know what? The teacher bought it. Not only the teacher, but the story lived on in my social permanent record. My own classmates, who were there for the Pissy Pants incident, thought Az's story was real. Please, everyone, open your eyes. This is just another one of the dreamer's lies.
Bars.
Come to think of it, did old Azzy come up with that story not to defend me, but to get his friend out of trouble? Water under the bridge. Water under the bridge. Don't think about it. The fact of the matter was that incident led me getting my first real friend. Of course, my misfortunes ramped up into overdrive after my life was graced with his presence. Or rather, should I say that misfortunes got better. Az took me in as his own, and I suddenly had a lot more eyes on me to disappoint. Every trip, every fall, every wayward basketball, I had an audience.
The voice has become something completely different now. It's gone on for so long, it's like I'm becoming like the Godfather or something.
Every trip, every fall, every wayward basketball, I had an audience. It's the kind of audience I want. I'm a one-man stand-up routine. What do you mean most stand-up's already done by one man? Oh, you say that this makes me a character in my very own comedy feature. I didn't apply for this role, thank you very much. I'm more into the dramas. Let me flex my chops. Wait, you think I'm just a character and not the star in my own comedy routine? Let's not talk about that.
What is the music? It's Toho Lo-Fi.
Getting back to Az, he introduced me to the flock of neighbor kids down the street, but most of them were chicks, absolute hotties. Az, how could you recount the Pizza Pants story to them and leave me with a shred of dignity, please? Did you ever stop to think there's actually really down-to-earth girls? And I might have had a chance with one of them someday if you hadn't already splashed cold Pizza Pants water on my face? Even if they were your friends, they didn't have to know. I tried to give him my own nickname, Asriel, but in the middle of saying it, I chickened out and called him Azzy. You know, I know. My chance for revenge wasted. However, there were girls present. I couldn't disappoint their shining bright eyes with my filth. Never. Or at least not in front of Az's shining bright eyes. Let me clarify. I definitely regret it. The name Azzy stuck with everyone in our group. Now Hottie A and cute girl B follow him around all day, coaxing Azzy, blah. I'm sick of it. You never hear any girl chirping Pizzapants for me. Yeah, it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. Yeah, that's the only problem with the situation. Huh. As for how Az looked out, just imagine if I'd called him the other thing. Hey, ass. What you doing, ass? You send your mom send you to pick up. What did your mom send you to pick up from the store, ass? You're just picking up your little sibling from school. Never mind. Can't simply squirt. Can't imply squirt is an ass unless I want a couple of ribs cracked. Now I gotta call someone squate if I'm myself scarred by the name Pizzapants. Listen, I'm a real gentleman. No matter what I think, the precious little sibling of my best friend is my step-sibling. Almost flesh and blood. Except, well, Squate's not even flesh and blood related to Az, are they? So, not only my step-sibling, but they're also Azzy's step-sibling. Why does it sound like some scandal? Do you ever hear Mrs. Dreamer ran off with the human milkman, and now Mr. Dreamer has a human child? What? You'd rather say Squate's Azzy is my adopted child? That one's handful enough as it is. No, thank you. I didn't even get to experience the fun part of producing the child yet, and I'm suddenly burdened with the whiny snot-nosed result. Nah, forget I said that. What I mean to say is a sibling of my friend should at least be my little buddy. One step below friend, like a second place. Actually, it's more like a participation trophy, isn't it?
This might really just be Pizzapants for 8,000 words. I don't know. Is Pizzapants gay or bi? Yes. This voice is surprisingly quite sustainable. Like, it doesn't actually hurt to do this voice. I'm struggling to take in all of this. It's passing at such high speed, and I'm so concentrated on just reading it. It's like, what was that about Toriel and the milkman? And like, Jesus. Anyway.
It doesn't matter in the long run. The point is, as much as I can say about Asriel Dreamer, he's my best friend in the whole world. I actually like that guy, faults and all. I can't say that much about many people. I'm a man of high standards. I choose quality over quantity, He's a real friend, you hear? Not some kind of Hollywood connection, a rung on the social stepladder. Even though he's also a rung on my social stepladder. He's more of a step stool. Why is everything step all of a sudden? I have a stepchild with my stepladder on a step stool? No, I'm trying to praise the guy here, as he's the kind of that'll stick with you through thick and thin. Ride or die, or at least the ride part. His dad lets him borrow his beat-down truck whenever he likes. Lucky for him. But it's also lucky for me, too, since a friend with the vehicles and at your beck and call limo service. What do you mean it's demeaning for me to compare Asriel Dreamer to my own personal chauffeur? Wasn't it fine for me to be Bluey's personal jester earlier? How mean?
Outson's really into this. Super into this fic. I'm kind of into it too. I'm just letting it wash over me. It's like the vague jazz music's actually kind of playing into this now. We need like the Birdman soundtrack for this.
In any case, as for the introduction, name, I guess I'd rather be called Pizzapants.
That was asking his fucking name. I just remembered. Holy shit.
All things considered, better than being called a dud, I guess, or boyga. I know it's not a great choice. It's less embarrassing than explaining that my parents didn't care how my name sounded or that some guy wet my pants at school. Whoa, definitely shouldn't explain it that way. The name Pizzapants, I apparently sat on a cafeteria pizza once and it's haunted my life ever since. What a quaint story. What do you mean it makes me seem like I have no personality other than the one mishap that occurred in primary school? Move on. Moving on. Age, sex, location. For the next topic, let's pass on that one too. My location's obvious, right?
He didn't say yes please, so he dodged that bullet.
I live in hometown, which ain't too far from the city at all. In fact, I can be here any time. I'm a real asset. Day and night, Az will come pick me up and drop me off. He just needs to get his mom's permission first. Why are you making that face? She's really scary, you know. Not scary enough that it'll interfere with the job. I'm definitely your most qualified candidate. My biggest asset is my persistence. I never know when to give up. Wait, don't close the door in my face. What am I supposed to do now? I guess I'll come alright.
That was the introduction. Jesus Christ, man. Wow. That went by fast. Holy shit. Worst job interview. Chapter 1. We made it to chapter 1. 6 pages in. It's like the Tears of the Kingdom tutorial. 3 hours later, you've now started the game. He wasn't fired, he never got hired. That was something. My ability to do other voices may be harmed by that, but that one voice I can do, I guess. We have color-coded dialogue, I guess maybe in response to me complaining bitterly about not knowing who was speaking in previous fics. That's nice if so. So, how was the interview? Did you think you got the position? Asriel cruelly stepped down from his seat of the red rust bucket eyesore that closed the door with a heavy thunk. Who knows why he exited the vehicle when they were going to drive back soon anyway.
Yeah, you could say that, or you could say that I'm not really sure what happened back there. It kind of happened in a flash. Before I knew it, I was out the door, so either I did really well or not so much.
Well, I'm sure you did a great job, don't worry. Nothing is better than minimum wage customer service to really test your acting chops. If anyone's a natural, it would be you. Asriel smiled, casually throwing the keys to Burger Pants, who scrambled to catch them, and ended up swatting them, spiking them into the pavement with an audible clang. You can go ahead and get in. I've got to wash my hands. Wash his hands? What would Asriel Dreamer touch in the time he got to the truck? In the time he got to the truck to the time he arrived here that would make him need to wash his hands. It was an obvious lie, wasn't it? What exactly was he going to do? Did he want to get a job as well? Wanted a milkshake? Weed, says chat. Burger Pants obediently got into the passenger side seat with the door ajar as he peeked curiously in what direction Asriel had walked. No way he was starting the truck up. It might burst into flames. As for the heat, well, it wasn't that bad of a day outside anyhow. She could just leave the door open. Don't leave a cat in a hot car. Asriel marched swiftly along and entered the establishment as if he was meant to be there. That guy was so mysterious sometimes. It would be a crime to say that as... Oh, sorry. The quote distracted me. It should be a crime to say that. Az was a simple person most of the time. He was cheerful, friendly, neat, and overall pretty vanilla. Down to the color of his fur, apparently. However, there had been a few things in his life here and there that had turned him a bit crooked. Everyone had a couple incidents they weren't keen to talk about, things that messed with their heads. Life could never be ideal forever. Misfortunes happen to everyone, including Mr. Perfect himself. Not just once or twice, though. He's been through some doozies since Burger Pants had known him. There was no way they could talk about it. Asriel would never bring it up on his own. Which was fine, since Azzy never asked Burger Pants any questions in kind. They had the sort of friendship where they could easily turn a blind eye to each other's slip-ups. However, Asriel Dreamer's slip-ups were nothing like his own. At most, Az snuck out of the house to play with the girls when he was supposed to be studying. As for himself, well... Burger Pants once got caught red-handed by the Chief of Police. The Chief of Police coincidentally being Asriel's father. Who knows what he had said, but Az somehow used that silver tongue of his to bail him out. Figuratively, of course. It was a miracle he didn't have to be bailed out. But if Az was there at that time, it was like comparing the trials and tribulations of a greenhouse rose to that of a common garden weed. They didn't live in the same reality. Burger Pants sighed and flipped the engine to standby mode to listen to music while he waited. He scanned through all the stations to hear nothing but the same garbage noise. That must suck if that happens regularly. Great, nothing but static. Maybe Az had some CDs. How many of these fics are going to reference the fucking religious ska? I'd kill for a Best of Queen compilation at this point. This is straight up smooth jazz now. Wow. It's perfect, actually. He folded down the visor on the driver's side and hit the jackpot, or possibly the jacked pot hit him. There were various CDs there, but they varied in a range of annoying to god-awful. It must have been Az's dad's collection. There was one CD that stood out with scribbles on the front, labeled a messy permanent marker. If you had to guess, this should have been something to do with Asriel being in the choir. Nothing said homemade better than cheaply constructed materials and misspellings. He fished out the CD from the compartment sleeve on the visor and jammed it into the CD slot. Or what he thought was the CD slot. He immediately overlooked that this truck was so old it played cassette. If you can't play CDs, why even have them in your truck?
Oh shit, here comes Asriel. That was super quick. Did he really just go inside to wash his hands?
With the CD snugly caught in the stereo paneling, Burger Pants hastily jerked it away and ripped a small part of the reflective film from the disc. What's this? It didn't crack, but the film ripped? CDs are burned, right? How is there a layer of film to rip? I don't know, Burger Pants. I don't know. Wait, he's Pizza Pants, sorry. Asriel was looking right at him with a smile, unaware of what was going on. Burger Pants smoothly tried to nudge the CD into the sleeve so that the damage wasn't visible.
Don't let him find out. Al, don't let his dad find out.
Burger Pants groaned out through gritted teeth. When he heard the door open, Burger Pants wheezed a "Hey, bud," in greeting to make himself seem less suspicious. Of course Asriel saw him messing with the CDs. How could he not see? Why else would someone lean across the driver's seat to the visor from the passenger's side? Burger Pants took his opportunity to close the door on his side as well. Don't want to forget that. If they hit a bump in the road, he was 90% certain he would fly out of the truck. You have an ear for country now, D-boy. D-boy? His name is Dudley, right? Jesus. As wisecracked while climbing back into the cranking the engine. D-boy. Who the frick knows where this came from? One day out of the blue, Asriel started calling him this. He asked him why it wasn't the usual Pizzapants, but Asriel laughed it off, saying it would sound like he was bullying him with that name. Really? But he had no problem using it in front of others, especially the girls. When they were alone, though, that's when D-Boy came out. What's the sudden need for code names? Are they secret agents?
I was just looking through them. They didn't look like anything that you were into.
Oh really? I'm into everything. You've got to learn to appreciate the songs individually, not just by genre. As if he'd seen everything from the beginning, Az tapped the unofficially labeled CD when he stopped at the intersection. That one's special. It's a mixtape Chris and I made years ago for Father's Day. We burned a bunch of pirated video game and anime music for my dad. It's actually hilarious to think about now. My dad had no clue what any of this was, but he cherished it for so long. Asriel snorted curtly. Excuse me, was something funny? Offensive? What's that expression supposed to convey? Young master dreamer, do you care to share your feelings with the class?
I assumed it was from the church. You're in the choir, right? Suddenly, you have some recordings of yourself singing.
Surely.
Surely.
The voice hurts now for some reason.
I don't know what happened.
Is that something you want to hear so badly? You know where I'll be every Sunday.
Blah, no idiot wants to hear you vocalizing in a flowery manner that's clearly to show off. We both know you're only up there to make your mama proud.
Burger Pants scoffed in his head. Besides, he'd gone a few times. It's weird, I keep wanting to think that they're both like 27 years old here, but they're just in high school still, in theory. For some reason, it's the New York accent, the fast-talking New York. It seems like he should be in his late 20s. So I keep having to like snap back and forth. Besides, he'd gone a few times. Asriel was nowhere to be seen after every service. There would be no point. I've got a cassette here somewhere if you're really interested.
Where? I searched the truck earlier. I definitely would have found it if it was in that case, he quipped.
In brackets, though. Actually, what was Asriel thinking? Was he really willing to pop in a tape of his own voice recordings and jam out on the ride home, thumping his fingers on the steering wheel in time with the beat? Actually, did anyone want to sit in this rust bucket and listen to the sound of Asriel singing slow, crusty church hymns? No, absolutely not. The tonal dissonance would be too much to bear.
I was just wondering if it was from the time your voice transitioned. It was really rough there for a while, Az. You couldn't get through 2 words without your voice cracking. I wonder if the exchange rate for 2 words is the same for singing, or did the rules change? Did your voice squeak every couple notes, every 16 bars? He speaks in such a weird fucking way, but it's kind of like interesting.
It's just free association. Yeah, I describe it as a literary way. It's how someone would speak in a book, as opposed to like realistically, but I guess that's the point. This is literature. If that's all you wanted, we should be able to do some karaoke with me. We could sing a super off-key duet. It'll be the show for the ages.
And scare off all the ladies. I can do that on my own.
It obviously wasn't a sincere invitation anyway. When did Asriel have time to go off to karaoke? After school, track, homework, volunteering, church, choir practice, and spending quality time with the split-up family. Asriel's face lit up and he let out a delightfully genuine laugh. Was self-deprecation really that funny? In that case, there was certainly plenty to go around. Take a big heaping pile, laugh it up while it's still not stale. After that, the conversation pretty much died. Stiff silence with the occasional accompanying noise of the engine sputtering was the soundtrack to their trip home. What was there to say? Thanks for driving me out to humiliate myself in front of some stranger? I can't wait to do that again sometime. Forget it. He didn't want to mention the interview ever again. Why was it that Burger Pants couldn't help but spill his guts in front of strangers, but couldn't bring up a single topic in front of his best friend? Was it the lack of understanding? No, not of Asriel, but of the strangers. He desperately has to explain himself to other people, but Az always seemed to get him just fine. In fact, it was because there was a mutual understanding between them that he couldn't ask about what happened earlier. If Asriel really did go in to wash his hands, well, he's the kind of guy to take him along. Huh. Actually, two grown men splashing around in the public bathroom sink. The optics weren't great. Scratch that idea. Maybe he was trying to save some face, not dragging Burger Pants back there to awkwardly encounter the interviewer again. Would she kick him out for a second time after seeing his face? When they came up close to familiar territory again, Burger Pants knew the journey was almost over. Home at last. Finally, he could get back to being the bum he was always meant to be. Hey, 69 viewers. Nice. Anyone who left before this is really missing out. What happened to all that destiny talk about hopes and dreams from earlier? Just for show, just for show. Everyone would want a free ride that's offered to them, right? Coasting by in life was his biggest dream. Coasting by in life was his biggest dream. Sure, he wanted the job to make a couple bucks and find some more connections, but ultimately Burger Pants wanted to milk his life living with his parents as far as it could possibly take him. The real life out there was scary. He tried running away from home a couple times, only to camp out at the Dreamer's house. No, he didn't make it very far. But where else could a child go? While their home was always open and inviting to friends, Mrs. Dreamer had always had that knowing look in her eye. What she knew exactly, who could say? Maybe she knew everything and was judging him. Maybe she knew nothing and was judging him. Maybe she was simply thinking about making a grocery list, but was simultaneously looking at him and judging him. She wasn't the only one either. Az naturally had many friends. They didn't get along. Burger Pants would consider a good half of them were his friends too, but they weren't friends he'd consider hanging out with in Az's absence. They were, what do they call that? Nodding acquaintances? Maybe they could be considered shaking the head acquaintances instead. It was Asriel that brought people together after all. That's a familiar situation. This shit slaps, says chat. It's engaging so far. I'm engaged as fuck. Thinking of that time, it was only one of the instances where Burger Pants could remember Az getting upset with him. Boys being boys, they like to joke and do stupid stuff together.
Yeah, I like to joke around and do all sorts of stupid gay shit. They can't troll you if they dressing up as a girl and kissing him, eh?
They do a lot of things that were supposed to be off limits, aside from the usual staying up after curfew. Maybe sneaking off, pulling a few pranks, mild mischief. It never went too far. It's not like they tore up the house or anything. That was a job for Squirt, after all. That was their specialty. Never leave amateurs to do a professional's job, as they say. That's right, and their brief spat was about the little sibling. Well, not specifically involving Chris, but there they were, tangentially involved somewhat. Burgerpants considered himself quite the artiste, regardless of his practical skills, as was also the creative type, which made getting along with him a breeze. They were both meek, mild-mannered people who loved to express themselves through the arts. With Az, that was quite literally. He loved to draw. In fact, he'd won quite a few drawing and coloring contests at school. If there was something Az couldn't do, wouldn't that be a wonder to see? The two had always liked playing and drawing together, playing a drawing game together. They'd each take turns drawing a part of a picture and turn it for the other to edit. The picture started off pretty tame, but eventually ended up somewhat inappropriate, at least by Mrs. Dreamer standards. What began as a tree would morph into a picture of a pipe-smoking snowman who'd set fire to a house. In other pictures, limbs would get chopped off, and there'd be guts and gore aplenty. Having said that, it was normal kind of icky kids would draw when trying to push the boundaries. None of it was particularly offensive. At least not until middle school, when they'd become properly aware of the differences between certain body parts. Suddenly, the limbs and organs that were missing from people from previous pictures were found in abundance. It didn't matter if it made sense, the more of it the better. It was naughty, therefore it was hilarious.
He's talking about cock and balls.
They would take the old coloring books and form stupid narratives around the pictures, modifying them with unseemly captions and wildly exaggerate proportions. Each one was a work of true art, each its own pristine ode to preteen angst, the pinnacle manifestation of chunibyo. I wasn't expecting that, alright. The coloring book graffiti game extended to other materials as well, so it shouldn't have been a surprise that one of the kids' books with a scantily clad... I knew this would come up, it was leading into the How to Draw Dragons. The scantily clad figure on the cover also got their infamous makeover treatment. Perhaps because they were a bit older at the time, fueled by the contents of the cover, they were particularly inspired to go ham defacing it, and bumping up source material a couple of age ratings. The problem was that Az didn't remember making any adjustments at all. He somehow thought Burgerpants had done it all by himself. It came as a complete surprise when Asriel got super upset the next day. When he said he'd been discovered, Burgerpants assumed that Mrs. Dreamer must have found it, but that wasn't the case at all. It was little Buddy who'd gotten a hold and feasted his eyes on the forbidden contents. Apparently, they were traumatized by what they saw. This is good. Feeling completely wronged by his misfortune at the time, Burgerpants tried to state his case, reasoning that Az was half complicit and didn't take the proper steps to hide the book even though he knew Chris shared the same bedroom. Asriel, however, like his mom, could be absolutely terrifying if you thought there was a slight against him or his family. They ultimately made amends when Burgerpants offered to have a talk with Squirt and apologize. Az stood over his shoulder the whole time, monitoring the situation to make sure it didn't go anywhere he didn't approve. That conversation had to be the most humiliating situation Burgerpants had ever been in. Or at least it should have been if it wasn't so shameless. The familiar street came into view. They were going to split up for the day, and Burgerpants is going to take some time to unwind in his own special way. It's vaguely ominous.
Hey, bud, thanks for taking me all the way over there to shoot my shot. I'll knock him dead next time.
I don't think you have to keep shooting your shot, D-boy. I'm fairly confident you've already got it in the bag.
Sure thing. Nowhere to go but up.
Burgerpants hastily unbuckled his seatbelt and opened the door, getting the feeling that something was different. Oh, the engine was shut off. Why did Az turn off the truck? Just as he looked over. So, I was thinking, why don't I hang out at your place today, for old time's sake? That smile, the extremely punchable face. Don't be so smug while inviting yourself over, okay? What old time's sake? Didn't all their old times hanging out entail them going over to Asriel's house? Burgerpants thought of a whole new issue.
What'd Mr. Dreamer think? Or Mrs. Dreamer think? Hello, Earth to Az. Do you want to be skinned alive? Wait, wouldn't she just skin me instead? Az, you should probably call your mom first, right? You should be okay. You sure she'd be okay with it?
I'm staying with my dad tonight, Az declared triumphantly, as if he'd gotten his way.
You should probably make sure it's alright with your dad then.
The expression on Burgerpants' face faltered.
Or me. You should probably ask me if I'm alright with this first. Don't I gotta say? What do you intend to do, coming over to my dingy, cramped room? Wash your hands? If cleanliness is next to godliness, you'll probably need a lot more than hand washing if you step foot in there, buddy.
he thought venomously to himself, never daring to voice it aloud. Banger line, though. It'll be fine, let's just have fun. We'll do whatever you want to do. Chapter 2. Of 2, I assume. Let that sink in. The piano was so smooth. Sorry, just vibing for a second there. The first thing Burger Pants did when he got to his room was pick up the laundry off the floor and tuck some of the trundle. I've never heard that word before. Trundle. You can be trundling, but not a trundle. And tuck away the trundle of his sofa bed so that Asriel would have a decent place to sit. The couch was so small that they would be practically touching if he squeezed next to him, so Burger Pants resigned himself to the floor. He pushed the button to turn on the TV so that there would be noise to distract them from the embarrassing atmosphere. Was this the first time Az ever came to his place? No, not at all. But it was the first time he'd been here as an adult. It was hard not to notice all the differences in his room, scattered with evidence of the growing interests he'd taken up. In most of the time of his friend's absence... Okay, let me try again. It was hard not to notice all the differences in the rooms scattered with evidence of the growing interests he'd taken up in the time of his friend's absence. Of course, Asriel shouldn't mind too much. If anything, he'll act as oblivious as always, right? In his room, his house. It's his room, his house. He'd had a long day. That was reason enough to pretend that having Asriel here didn't bother him. Don't look at him. Pretend he's a fly on the wall. A spider on the wall. He can join in all the other bugs that made their home on his wall. Oh, actually, would Az notice the bugs on his wall? Don't think, just do. So he decided to clumsily move forward with his own wind-down routine and reach for the stash into the cushion. Az just sat there, obediently watching the TV. Well, not completely watching the TV. He would glance over to Burger Pants' way from time to time, as if he was just checking the clock.
You want to join me? It'd be pretty awkward to have you staring at me the whole time, eh?
I don't mind if you smoke at all. It's not really my thing. Asriel hesitated, as if he just thought of an important issue. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone.
You rotten bastard,
Burger Pants seethed.
I was there when you tried your first smoke. I was there when you got passed out drunk on fruity drinks at Caddy's house. I know what you're like underneath your public-facing facade. Why do you even bother to hide it in front of me? To feel superior?
What's wrong? You're looking at me funny, Az giggled, as if suddenly caught up in high contact. Oh, in a contact high. What is a contact high? Is that droogs? I don't know enough about droogs to know what that is. That's not a natural reaction, right? Where did it come from? Nothing happened yet.
I'm just thinking, you're such a good boy, Asriel. That's what everyone thinks, right? Asriel Dreamer, what a charming prince. An angel sent from the heavens. I just hope I'm not making you too uncomfortable. I'm not used to having guests over.
This is why Burger Pants disliked attractive people. Maybe it was a survival instinct, but they all seemed to play dumb. They were natural schemers, and he knew exactly how to get what they wanted, or they did, rather. And what more could they want? They've already got their life handed to them, surrounded by many friends and a good family, a rich family, the ones without real issues. It's when you get high from being around someone who's high. Gotcha. Wait, that wasn't exactly fair. Az's family had its share of problems, and he knew it. It couldn't have been easy living one's life up to everyone's high expectations while simultaneously being repressed by their overbearing parents. But at least Asriel's parents feel like they really love him. As for Burger Pants' situation... Come on, don't be like this. We both know I'm not a good person. Az waved off the statement, shifting his position and briefly making eye contact. As far as angels go... wouldn't that be my little Chris? There's that genuine smile again, the one that seemed to come out only when thinking of something sinister. Burger Pants was taken back briefly.
Little buddy. Sure, they're interesting.
Another brief moment of eye contact. He's really into talking about his sibling. I've never known anyone so pure in my entire life. It's absolutely captivating. Burger Pants hesitated for a moment, wondering if he was about to step on a landmine. However, he just had to know. To what extent was Asriel's bias toward Chris? Was he just defensive because his little sibling was cute? But that's not really the case at all. Who could call Chris Dreamer cute? Did they have eyes? Ears? Any sense of awareness? Anyway, weren't siblings supposed to fight? A sibling rivalry, to fight over the affection of one's parents. Actually, considering the parents, was that the reason for their siblings' camaraderie in lieu of a rivalry?
You remember that one time little buddy tried to make you coffee but accidentally left chicken bones at the bottom of the mug?
That's right, it was hot chocolate, actually. It wasn't an accident. They put them there on purpose. Of course they did. Coffee doesn't grow bones of its own. That's so specific and so good. I aspire to this as a writer, just be able to think of weird fucking ideas like that. Like, where did you come up with that? Chicken bones and a hot chocolate. How did you think of that? It's so specific.
Needed this hot chocolate for that,
Or mugs. Unless it's boneware, perhaps. But who's shelling out those kids? But who's shelling out those kinds of dollars on kitchen essentials? Boneware. Got it. In any case, those were buffalo chicken wing bones. The best part was already picked clean. You clearly got shafted regardless if you wanted the chicken or the chocolate. Was Asriel really aware that it was a prank? What's with the shit-eating grin?
On purpose, wasn't it supposed to be chicken flavor or something?
Would such a concoction be called cock chocolate? No, that's taking things too far. You nearly missed hot cock chocolate, like sriracha flavored. Well, I guess that's a side perk. The real reason was I needed more calcium. There's calcium in bones, you see. Isn't that adorable? In what world was finding bones at the bottom of your cup adorable? Most rational people would think it's a threat, especially considering his diet. Asriel Dreamer, he really is a weirdo.
I guess so.
And Burger Pants forced a smile. Well, half a smile. A strained smile, if you will. At least it looked like he'd been put through the strainer.
Remember that time they put packs of ketchup in your track shoes?
Asriel slapped his knee as if he told the best joke he'd ever heard. They were afraid I was going to lose the race, so they put packets there so I could catch up to my opponent. How far does the Dreamer brain rot rabbit hole go? Do bad puns come with the last name? What was the deal? I'm right there with Burger Pants. I've never been so invested in Burger Pants' point of view. I've become Burger Pants.
Yeah, and the time they dumped a full bouquet of roses in your bed while you were sick. What were they thinking?
Oh, that funny story. My mom was watching a rom-com while Chris was there in the front room, silently watching along. She must have forgotten they were presents, so when Chris asked why the rose petals were spread on the late lady's bed, it scared the hell out of her. Mom immediately gave the excuse that it was a present since the leading lady wasn't feeling good and needed to lay down. Mom shooed them away, claiming it was past their bedtime. Since Mom definitely skirted over the romantic implications, Chris formulated the idea that roses have healing properties. Along with my dad, they spent the whole day picking out good ones for me. Too bad they got crushed.
The stems were still on Azzy, the thorns. Think about the bed full of thorns. Did it hurt? Is it fun being surprised with 1,000 tiny cuts in your sickbed?
Burger Pants felt like he was about to have a stroke. Why is this so funny? Like, what an angle to explore. It's an angle I hadn't even thought of, and it's like really promising suddenly. Like it just works. Chris truly could do nothing wrong in his eyes, even bullying the ill. Actually, that's a strange detail to pop into his head. What was up with his best friend being bedridden? Did he ever think to question it before? Is this like actually some retroactive Kara shit? I can imagine, like, this is sort of like speculating on what Asriel and Kara's relationship could have been like an Undertale. If I'm reading into it correctly. Even if it's not intentional, like, there's a good amount of overlap here. It's really fascinating. Yes, says the author. Alright. I'm into it. I'm into it. The stems were still on, etc.
I don't remember, so fill me in. What were you so sick with at that time? As I recall, you didn't come to school for days.
Asriel's mood visibly deflated, so this was the touchy subject. Oh, that. You remember that one night of truth or dare when Bratty dared me to kiss her?
Who could forget?
Burgerpants cleared his throat. It shouldn't be that Mrs. Dreamer beat him to the point where he didn't dare show his face in public for a week. She actually bit me, but everything got found out. I tried to take up for Bratty by saying, Catty slapped me with her claws. We all wound up having to get tetanus shots. Whoa, what kind of scoop was this? Asriel Dreamer's got the wild child neighbor chicks fighting over him. Wait, Catty didn't actually slap him, right? She should have. She still has it in her head that they're going steady. One night at a school dance of all things, she got wasted and grinded all over him, as if to show everyone that he was her property. So it was actually Bratty's fault? Also, exactly where did she bite him? How did it get found out? And if it was just a tetanus shot, why was he out for so long? He's asking all the right questions. These scenarios are so specific, but I love them. They're so good. They're so weird, but they work. She bit him. The Beastars lore coming back.
Did the shot make you sick? Don't tell me you got tetanus.
A strange, defeated sort of smile struck its way into Azzy's face. How could that be? My mom grounded me for a long time. Aside from church, I was forbidden to contact anyone.
That's harsh, dude.
Burgerpants sucked in a breath. It was a lot to process at once. Grounded because of the kiss, or because he got bitten? What kind of logic was that? More importantly, Burgerpants was hung up on the Bratty and Caddy thing. How much was going on between them and Asriel? As a friend, even he didn't know, and he really needed to know.
So, between you two, who do you like more?
Huh? But between who? Between you and...
Bratty and Caddy, they hate each other, so don't dream of taking both. Which one would you prefer?
Burgerpants huffed. Yes, choose one soon. And that way there's room to work in a relationship with the other. It definitely could happen. That's... how can I choose? They're like my sisters. Oh. They cut you off. They cut you off. Shit. I was really riding that high. It cut me off. It's like when Umris cuts off, but it was the opposite reaction, because I was like glad that it stopped. Author's note. After this scene, all shit hits the fan. It becomes a train wreck of biblical proportions. Asriel gets sick of Burgerpants and tries to tell him what's on his mind concerning his family. Wait, I don't want to read a plot synopsis. Hang on. Wait a minute. Has this been written, or is this just a... Does this exist somewhere? The rest of the story. I'm morbidly curious. I want to know. Does it become pornography? Like, what's the reason not to read it? Give me the lowdown here without the plot spoilers. Is it like foul smut? No reason. It's 53 pages long. Right. Okay. Yeah, that's not going into the stream. You're right. But I mean, it can't cut off there. I want to keep reading at least. I'm invested. I'll stop eventually. More importantly, Burgerpants was hung up on Bratty and Caddy thing. Yeah.
Sisters that publicly twerk all over you? The biting is not an issue. Oddly enough, that could be chalked up as sibling rivalry, but the kissing. Would you kiss your own sister? Oh, would you actually kiss your sibling, Asriel Dreamer? Couldn't be, right? Asriel got that weird guardian aura concerning Squate, but so does everyone else in his family. He's part of the Dreamer household. So it's no wonder he'd grow up to be an overbearing protective. The only thing I can't put my finger on is that strange mood whiplash that comes out every time he speaks about him. Are you just that proud of being a big brother, or... how shameful can you be? I know everything you're thinking. That's kind of messed up, don't you think? Pray tell, dreamer, what am I thinking? Do you actually know? How could anyone know the lead on where my thoughts are going? No offense to myself, but even I can't control where they end up. My train of thoughts are completely bypassed the station. Even I have problems keeping up. This is the inherent dilemma of the inventive mind, a blessing and a curse. Do you think it's easy for me? The script is a surprise to me every time. Good thing for you, my improv skills are top notch. I was just asking, are you more of the tails or scales kind of guy? I'm more of a scales guy myself, you know.
That's lore. Holy shit.
Something about a chick tough as nails. Both are nice, actually. Any type is good. That's a lie. I'm actually super icky. Listen, I got a couple videos from my dad's collection and thought, since you're the special guest, you should have the honor of choosing.
This is gonna get weird. Scales or tails? Jesus Christ. Why does it sound so natural, despite the fact that no humans ever actually said that before? Burger Pants stood up and worked his way over to the small particle board bookcase in the back corner. Then again, its intended purpose was to be a bookcase, but it housed anything but books. Each shelf was a cluttered collection of shirts, figurines, tapes, cups, comics. Wait, success. A comic is a type of book, right? Now he can consider himself sophisticated. There's a single book in its proper place. Your dad's collection, home movies? Asriel blinked twice as if trying to play innocent, but being completely obvious about it.
He's got it all. Let's see, quid pro do, tip of scales, epic tale, tongue and beak.
Oh god. What the fuck? What are you rattling off all of a sudden? How can you say those things with such a straight face?
Would you rather me say them with a twisted face? Listen, we just need to lighten the mood. Chill out. We're so tired of my wayward thoughts. I should clear my mind. What better way than this?
There's no way this isn't awkward, Pizzapants. You can't convince me that this bros hang out and watch porn together. You can't convince me that's a thing that people do. I'm not gonna buy it. I know I'm not the most social person. I haven't had the most conventional, bro-to-bro relationships, but this can't be a real thing. It happens, says Rim. Fuck. God damn it. Right, well, that's what he intended from the start. Burger Pants wanted to let off steam, relax, and forget about the mess that was earlier today. It seemed like instead of letting the thought clouds dissipate from his head, they were just gathering up again. The Force cast projects a congregation of thought clouds murking up the skies. Perhaps it would rain soon. Would those be considered shower thoughts? No, that's exactly the kind of thing he didn't need. The opposite of shower thoughts would be dirty thoughts? Ha! That fucking associative train of consciousness. It's weird to, read. Is this what Ulysses is like? Probably, right? 3 quarks for muster mark and such. As long as it got his mind off everything, it was good enough. He was tired of constantly thinking. It was high time to evict these lingering thoughts that rented out his mind. No more time for ruminating, dwelling on awkward encounters and serious discussions. Time to make a new awkward encounter. Sorry. Intelligent thoughts might chase him wherever he went, but he could definitely outrun them. On second thought, maybe since these were kind of comparisons circulating in his brain, he already entered the Zen state of stupidity long ago. In that case, merely stupid wasn't good enough. I've lost the track of what he's talking about, but he seems to know himself.
Why are you acting like so shy? I'm asking you what you like.
I'm not being modest or anything. I'm not interested.
You just gotta find the right one, bud. Surely something's gotta be interesting to you.
I highly doubt that, D-boy. Just drop it. Oh, what was that tone now? Did you ruffle some feathers?
Again with D-boy? There's that name. Just name something, huh? We probably got it.
Oh shit. This is getting weird. What about something with humans? I don't really care what genre. Whatever you usually watch is good. Holy shit. He's an anti-furry. How kinky is that in universe? How weird is that? Asriel sighed in a defeated tone, sitting back on the couch. Burger Pants immediately swung his head around and looked him square in the eyes, which gave Az a mild start. What the fuck is happening, says chat. Either you know or you don't at this point. I can't help you anymore. I can barely help myself. If there was some way for him to break to break up the mood like a record scratch, that was the thing that did it. Was it more accurate to say nails to a chalkboard? Whichever of the two was worse. Actually, would record a needle to chalkboard... Actually, would a record needle to a chalkboard be all that bad? Some records definitely were. All of this just to distract Burger Pants from the real question in his mind. Does Asriel seriously just ask that? Rather, why exactly did he ask for that? This was a no-judgment zone. Everyone's a little bit fucked up, but that... What brand of fucked up? How much? Was it vanilla or radical raspberry razzle-dazzle or fucked up? I don't think this was a no-win situation for Asriel, right? Burger Pants, Pizza Pants demands, "Hey bro, what porn you into?" Asriel says, "I'd rather not talk about it." Burger Pants says, "Tell me." And Asriel says what kind of porn he's into. Burger Pants immediately becomes highly judgmental. I mean, it's not a good situation, you know, to create in a social setting. You just don't create that situation. I don't even know where this is going anymore. Azzy, you... Not porn, stupid. I meant anime. I want to talk to you about something that's been bugging me, okay? I wanted to smoothly transition into it, but things keep getting off track. Putting it off like this is making me anxious. And this is exactly why Burger Pants wanted to chuck any random video on. You shouldn't have bothered asking Asriel in the first place. At least if you went with his instincts, the mood wouldn't be so awkward. They'd be distracted by now. It probably would have been the fucking dough one, wouldn't it? God damn it. What good is talking going to do? Is there anything to be said that will upset him less at this point? Seriously, the mood was too heavy. That was the opposite effect of what he intended, but since Asriel brought it up, he must have something he wanted to say. The least he could do was listen. Tape still absent-mindedly in the hand, he walked closer to the couch and plopped back into a spot on the floor.
All right then, what did you have in mind?
The funny video essay man is saying porn. Point and laugh at the funny video essay man. God damn it. Who talks about the porn they watch? I don't know. It's like, this interaction is so weird, but I don't know. Someone in chat said that real people do this. It's not fucked up at all. It's normal. I'm just gonna have to roll with it. I'm interested in learning about humans because my sibling is human. You get it now, right? Chris hates humans. Can't talk about them, won't even look at pictures. Aside from a home, we don't share any common interests. We're nothing alike. It's hard to get along all the time without putting in the effort. Do you know how exhausting it is? Burger Pants took a puff and exhaled slowly. There was nothing he could have done to prepare himself for today. The day just kept on going. Things got off course for Asriel, joined the club. Nothing went as planned for Burger Pants either, even more so than usual.
No common ground, nothing alike? As the spitting image of you. No, that's not it. It's more like Squate follows in your footsteps. It's hard to separate you two. Trust me, I know you. You can't just be placating them for your sake, right? You guys do everything together. I would have killed to have a brother like you growing up. Did he get in a fight or something?
Since Burger Pants hardly reacted, Asriel continued. There isn't much I can seriously talk about without scaring Chris, because Chris doesn't want to admit that they're human. So how could I bear to tell them about the life cycles of monsters? Why they're different than the rest of the family. Mom can't do it either, and I doubt she ever tried. I can't comfort them. I can't comfort myself by venting to others about it either. You're digging up every, like, unexplored but weirdly compelling plot line or plot thread or unspoken conflict in Deltarune so far and just, like, wallowing in it. I'm really digging this. This is what fanfiction is supposed to be for. Like, I'm into it. It's weird, but I'm into it. The more he went on, the more venomous the sentiments became. He briefly looked over to his friend for validation, but Burger Pants was too busy fooling around with stuff on the floor. He was listening right though, right? Burger Pants, stop doing whatever the fuck you're doing with the floor. What do they know? To them, humans are these quirky mascot creatures in anime. I'm sick of this backwoods shut-in town, the self-serving views of the world. I want to get out of here and be myself for once, without everyone looking expectantly to me. I need to be who they want me to be, some Someone they can always rely on to be their comfort and support. I thought maybe you were the same, that you wanted to escape. Wow, and there it is. Someday this turned out to be. Asriel Dreamer just spilled his guts all over the table, as the saying went.
Why'd you spill your beans?
Burger Pants didn't actually have a table, but Asriel really did have guts to spill all that. How do you recover from this kind of mood? So Az is bitter too. He also hates his shitty little small-town life. Lucky for him, he can still escape this hellhole, make something of himself. Yeah, he's got way too much potential to stay cooped up here. The world needs Asriel Dreamers to go out there and shake things up. Burger Pants instinctively fiddled with the object in his hands, but it inevitably fell to the floor and created a small circle of burnt metal carpet. At the state his room is in, it can be considered as a decoration. Maybe it would increase the property value. Asriel looked one more time for comfort, but still in vain. Was his friend still too distracted to understand what he was telling him? Maybe this was a mistake after all. Well, what do you think?
Nah, you're too good for this hometown, Azzy. Maybe you should start thinking about what's going to be best for yourself. Your mom can't always follow you all the way to college, right?
Az sighed and looked down at his trembling hands. I love my home, and my friends, and my family. I just feel trapped. I've got a bit of a headache suddenly. Why don't you just do your thing while I get some water, all right?
He means jack off.
Asriel stood up hastily and walked to the door, as if he had the whole place memorized. What water? That was probably the last he'd seen Az. That was probably the last he'd see of Az today. He most likely, knowing that guy, just went back home. Given what he said, it's understandable for Azzy to be upset. Who could blame him? What with given the mountains of pressure he faces every day? Yes, even attractive people could have problems once in a while. Burger Pants thought, it's not all fun in the sun. Maybe that's what bent him, slowly watching his world fall apart on him while pretending he didn't see the pieces falling and still maintaining the status quo with the false smile plastered to his face. Yep, that sucks. Burger Pants is going to beat the 2008 indie game off. Yes, that's what I mean.
Azzy, you're fun to beat up, sir, ain't you?
At least Burger Pants didn't have anyone to disappoint but himself. Himself and Asriel. Thinking back on it, he was just... was that just now a cry for help that went on deaf ears? Did he let his friend down? Maybe he should have tried to stop him in the door. No way, Asriel zoomed out there faster than the naked eye. If Burger Pants tried to block the exit, he would have been crushed to death. Twice. Somehow that guy was pretty miffed. Asriel Dreamer, the one-man stampede, with an extra stomp underfoot just for him. A stompede, if you will, and Burger Pants most likely deserved it. With a derisive snicker, he put the tape in that he'd been playing with absent-mindedly. What was the use in thinking about this now? He should gather his thoughts after a good night's rest and call Azzy after he comes to a conclusion. What if the idiot were to do something reckless, run away from home? Where could he even go? It couldn't be like him to camp out at the Dreamers while you're also a dreamer, right? If he did flee town right now, his mom found out, oh God help Mr. Dreamer. Poor guy would probably lose his visitation rights as well as his skin, wouldn't he? Actually, what good were visitation rights if the person in question was missing? But Az couldn't do it, right? He's scared so much for his family. They were the center of his universe. He cared so much, that is. This is Yeek levels of monologuing in a good way. I know what you mean. There's a difference. I've read books. I know what books are like. People monologue in books. And like, you know if you're reading the real thing or if it's fucking Yeek, right? Yeek is like the form of literary monologues. Philosophical rambling, stream of consciousness, but it doesn't, it's not it. It's not the real thing. It doesn't have any of the content, any of the actual appeal. This does. This is what the Yeek dev was trying to create. Something like this. I feel I've accidentally brought a real gem into existence here by making this stupid fucking ship into a meme. Burger Pants picked himself off the floor and dragged himself over to a couch in a daze. He stared at the ceiling for a good long while. Humans don't actually live for long, do they? That would be kind of weird to grow up, watching your younger sibling age like milk. No, wait, that wasn't fair at all. Squirt was doing well for themselves, but it did seem like only a couple years ago they weren't so tiny. Now they're almost caught up to Az himself. That's weird lore, but sure, okay. Monsters just age slower than humans for some reason? Okay, sure. Why not? I disagree personally. I mean, I went to great lengths previously to in fact argue against the idea that Undertale monsters at least age differently than humans, because, you know, Burger Pants himself points out that he's 19 years old, acting like a 19-year-old human, so... But I'll, you know, this is fine. Boss monster lore. Oh, it's boss monsters. Okay, never mind. Right you are. Just that Burger Pants didn't compare Asriel aging to himself, so I thought it was like all monsters. Would Squirt become a full-fledged grown-up before Az had done growing? Can he even call him Squirt at that point? No, of course not. Little Buddy is a little buddy after all. Wait, would Little Buddy even eventually become Big Buddy? A Giga Buddy? How do humans grow to be? Admittedly, all he knew about them was what had printed in his old textbooks and anime. Before the tape ended, Asriel opened the door to Burger Pants' room and stood hunched in the threshold, appearing in much worse condition than he did when he stormed out moments before. Was it just moments before? How long was a moment exactly? Burger Pants stood up, surprised by the sudden outburst. It was a good thing he wasn't caught in the middle of doing anything important just then, but whatever happened to Az, it obviously wasn't good, right? It looked like he'd been hit by a truck. Ah, I feel like I've been run over by a truck, Asriel groaned, reaching out to the party inside. Burger Pants didn't hesitate for long. Wait, who's Burger Pants? Did you forget, or was this established and I just skimmed over it? He has so many names, it's hard to keep track. It's Burger Pants is just like a loosely associative word cloud. He's been Burger Pants the whole time? Are you serious? When? But he ranted about his name for like an hour. How he was Pizzapants. And his real name was like Burgess or something. Oh, whatever. I don't care. It literally doesn't matter.
What happened, bud? You hurt anywhere? Did he get in a wreck? Should I walk you to the hospital? Tell your dad, your mom to come get you.
Az gave a cold look at the mention of the last two suggestions on the list. Don't even mention it, D-boy. I didn't leave your house. I was in the kitchen the whole time. Didn't I tell you I was getting something to drink? Burger Pants understood his intentions and helped him onto the sofa. Asriel still favored being slightly doubled over, so whatever was wrong, he was most likely uncomfortable. But not uncomfortable enough to ask for help. What the fuck is wrong? I am as clueless as Burger Pants. Does he have a kidney stone? Like what?
As I know this might not be the right time to ask, but why do you keep calling me that? D-boy, I mean.
Did you just discover it today? Asriel mused with a weak smile.
Absolutely not. It's been bugging me for a while now. You just said it a bunch today, a lot more than usual.
It's your own fault. You've called me Bud a lot lately.
What? How is that relevant? I call you by a nickname so you make up your own to throw back at me? At least mine makes sense.
Mine makes sense too. Remember back when you used to call me Buddy Boy all the time? Well, you dropped the D-boy. You dropped the D-boy, so I'm simply returning it. Plus, your first name starts with D, doesn't it? Oh god. To Burger Pants, this revelation was more mind-blowing than whatever Asriel had clued him in on tonight. Az remembered his given name, and remembered what he was called when he was first trying to get chummy with the guy. So it wasn't random after all. He thought Asriel was making up some anime reference, or more likely calling him a bad name. At least he seemed to use it like an insult. Vampire Hunter D-boy. It also sounds like D-bag, and you sound like a douchebag when you say bud, so condescendingly.
No, Az, how could I be so misunderstood? Chris is a little buddy, so you're the bigger buddy. The bud, like the pal crossed with a sprouting flower.
Asriel narrowed his eyes. I thought Chris is squirt to you. If they're squirt, then am I fountain? Asriel teared, starting to come back to his original demeanor. I think that makes him a gusher. Burger Pants was somewhat bewildered. Did he ever call Chris squirt in front of Asriel? He must be slipping, and Az must be very lenient, allowing it to happen without saying anything up till now. This is so high concept.
If they're a squid, it's more like a kitchen sink. The whole package. You got it all contained. Speaking of which, did you go wash your hands again? Or to get water? They don't seem so hot there, but as... The smile flashed at him seemed so bright it was sparkling, like he was beside himself with pride. In what in the world kind of mischief could he have caused in such little time? He didn't actually crash his dad's truck, did he? When I went to the kitchen, your mom gave me some chocolate milk. Wait, my mom gave you chocolate milk? Is she back from work already? Furthermore, did we even have chocolate milk? Burger Pants questioned. She also gave me some brownies. They were delicious. Absolutely not. If there was one thing Burger Pants' mom couldn't do to save her life, it was cook. She definitely couldn't bake. How did she get the brownies? What kind of brownies did she give you, Asriel? I told her I wasn't feeling well and she gave me some medicine she said would take the edge off. I think it just made me feel funny instead. But she was so nice for helping me, I don't want her to feel bad that it didn't work. Those kind of brownies. Alright. Hold up, was that Burger Pants' mom after all? Does that guy even work here? Did she slip something to Asriel? No, right? She wouldn't just share the good shit willy-nilly. However, this was Asriel Dreamer we were talking about after all. He wasn't just anybody. If someone could coax it out of her cold, ruthless hands, it had to be him. Burger Pants was so beside himself that he sat down to the seat next to Az's. How would this picture reverse so quickly? Asriel was now all smiles and rosy cheeks while Burger Pants was hunched over, contemplating his life. He couldn't tell what was real and what was fake. But the fact of the matter was, whatever happened to Asriel wasn't a small thing. He can't possibly drive home like this. He had at least to stay for a while and sit around until he got his wits about him. This fic has a knack of like blowing up totally minor things into like big weird mysteries, and usually that would be like off-putting, but somehow it's just feels right. It just feels natural. I don't know how it works. Unlike with Asriel's little slump earlier, Burger Pants didn't have the luxury of awkward silence. As soon as he noticed it was so hard to concentrate that he couldn't hear himself think, he realized why. It was that tape he'd put in earlier. That Axters was screaming so loudly. And if his mom was home, there was no way she couldn't hear it, right? He'd better turn it down. Didn't he have the remote here somewhere before Asriel came in? He could easily get up and use the buttons on the set, but half of them were broken. He was afraid he would accidentally pump the volume up as he was trying to turn it down. Plus, he knew it was around here somewhere. He just saw it. Burger Pants looked over the side of the sofa and felt between the cushions. Man, this is fucked. The author says, I translate things online. A translator? From what language? I'm curious. Japanese and... What is CN? What language is CN? Chinese. Oh, I see. Well, if you've never actually, like, written shit before... Or maybe you have, I don't know. You seem to have some latent ability, to say the least. When does Asriel start speaking Chinese? I don't know. Maybe somewhere in the next 58 pages. Is it because I'm here? Don't worry, you can continue to watch your silly videos if you want, Asriel chimed in. And I promise not to tell you when your dad records porn off the descrambled fuzzy network. Burger Pants' eyes darted toward his as if there were laser beams that could kill him. What was the detail Asriel casually harpooned through his head right now? The descrambled porn channel? Does Az know about such a thing? Has he unscrambled it himself? What the fuck is the scrambled porn channel? What does that mean? Is this why he had no interest? Sure, he wants to see reruns. Him, actually, he did. How could this kind of thing get old? But also...
It's kind of pathetic, don't you think? Do you ever imagine how the actress feels having to scream out cheesy lines like that? At that point, Burger Pants knew he should probably turn it off completely. Asriel already told him he wasn't interested and apparently told the truth. Sigh. Burger Pants should probably stop looking for the remote and go eject the tape himself. It's not like he'd be able to enjoy now, and just as he sat up straight, "Ah, Pizzapants." Once again, Asriel took him by surprise and began loudly moaning like the girl in the picture. For fuck's sake, Asriel, don't do that. Don't do this. It's gonna get weird. Don't make it weird, Asriel. Okay. I think we can handle it, Chad. I think we can handle it. Burger Pants practically jumped out of his skin at the call of his name and was shell-shocked for a good couple seconds. He swallowed hard. What was that voice? How was that voice produced? Asriel chuckled and nudged him playfully. "You're an actor too, right? Why don't you join in?" This is a classic case of, is this what guys talk about? Porno karaoke. That's a new concept. I'm pretty sure no one's tried that before. Porn karaoke. Pulling the actor card in there is incredible. You're right. You're right. Is Asriel just like the smoothest motherfucker alive? Like, the only reason they haven't hooked up yet is because Asriel wasn't trying. He took a bite of the weed brownies and now he's like, fucking all systems engage. Fuck that cat. Absolutely not. How could he allow himself to be humiliated in this way? More importantly, the situation was dangerous. His mom was home, right? Wouldn't she be able to hear them? This can't be happening. Not on his watch. Burger Pants immediately got up and darted toward the TV set, ejecting the tape. However, that had no bearing on Az's sudden burst of vitality. At some point, he had gotten up and began jumping on the couch. He's high as fuck. Oh my god.
Azzy, buddy, what are you doing? Get down, yeah? I turned it off like you wanted, so let's sit down and take a breather, okay?
Burger Pants reached out to help him down, but that seemed to make the guy more determined. He switched over to the other seat. "You do it too, it'll be fun together." He kept on his merry way, jumping up and down on the shabby sofa bed, giggling with the occasional "ah" just to get under his skin. Brain damage? Concussion? Did Asriel hit his head? After a particularly lewd moan, Burger Pants snapped and grabbed his arm.
"Seriously, my mom's gonna hear and think I'm doing something inappropriate to you. I'm begging you, quiet down, or your mom might find out too. What'll happen to me, huh? Trying to get me killed."
Don't grab me there. Harder. You've tricked me into reading some shit on stream that I wouldn't have agreed to in a vacuum. But the fic has been very persuasive so far. If it keeps accelerating, I might have to stop at some point. I don't know how intense this is gonna get. The music's going to fucking Toho music as Asriel's on drugs and like violently hitting on Pizzapants. As if to answer his question with defiance, Az yanked his arm away, sending Burger Pants tumbling forward. Burger Pants, in turn, had run out of patience and lunged toward Asriel, trying to muffle the filthy sounds coming out of his mouth. Wait, did I imagine that? Or did Asriel just casually let slip that he was interested in Pizzapants romantically, like during their conversation? And Pizzapants just did not notice that. I think he just did. Holy fuck. But Az wasn't the type of guy that would rather flop back onto the sofa than let himself be silenced. And since his support column had fallen, Burger Pants' center of gravity slipped off kilter too. It really was a misfortune that the descending Asriel's foot coincidentally swiped him with a substantial kick, causing him to topple over. Neither one of them made it out unscathed. Asriel hit his head on the hard, uncushioned arm of the sofa, while Burger Pants ragdolled to the floor in a total knockout. Oh my god. This is getting out of hand. Good lord. Now both of them were happy to let out groans, albeit one of pain and regret. There's no way Burger Pants' mom didn't suspect anything at this point. This is like the most awkward, tropey anime shit, but also it's just really, really funny in this context. She should have heard them rattle the floor when they fell, and was almost most likely too scared to check on the situation in fear of what they were doing. How messed up could this day get? How is that not over already? All Burger Pants wanted to do was come home and de-stress since way earlier that afternoon. But now that interview didn't even feel like a first course. First course, it was the appetizer. Why compare it to a dainty thing like that? If you compare it to something, it should be a real meal. Solid breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But it couldn't be compared to breakfast. That's supposed to be the most important meal of the day. And there were such things as an early morning snack? Who eats food before breakfast, the very meal intended to make you break your fast? Would such a thing be considered a soft transition into food? Valuable thoughts, Burger Pants. Alex he wishes he could have shower thoughts as interesting as Burger Pants. In any case, the interview earlier seemed like the superfluous snack before breakfast, and Asriel Dreamer was a full-course meal all by himself. Don't put it like that, Burger Pants. That's implicative. Why does comparing problems to food make it sound like it's a good thing? It was a nasty dinner, the kind you'd rather skip. Oh, who was Burger Pants trying to kid? How could he skip a meal? He was actually pretty damn hungry. Here I am, 5 hours later. Yep, this is going on, I got tired way earlier in the last stream doing the same thing. I don't know what the deal is. Over 6 hours now. After sitting there in contemplation for a while, the frustration he felt earlier subsided. Honestly, he wasn't sure why he got so swept up in it. Why did he ever care about what his mother thought of him anyway? Wasn't Az more important?
You doing okay, Az?
He breathed meekly, daring not try to move his body in fear of the pain that would most likely shoot through him when he did. I guess. Why didn't you play along? You used to be way less of a prude. Burger Pants resisted the urge to give himself a look.
I'm a prude? You saw my mom outside and plotted to embarrass me. I don't think such a word coming out of your mouth qualifies anyhow. I was just trying to save you from getting yourself in trouble. Why don't you be good for a while and wait it out?
Asriel scoffed. Your mom doesn't come home this early. Didn't you already know that? Burger Pants couldn't resist turning his head, the muscles in his neck crying out in agony at the sudden movement. He decided to sit up anyway. He shouldn't leave Az unattended, and he couldn't watch over him while he was literally out of his sight. Who knows what other cards that asshole had up his sleeve?
You lied. Of course, I should have known. I should never trust you, is that right? I'm a fool for believing?
I think I've proven myself pretty trustworthy. I can't help if you're gullible and fall for every prank. Haha, he fell alright. Literally, bashed his head on the floor. Now we could use his mom's magic pills. Speaking of which...
were the brownies and chocolate milk also a lie?
Why, do you want some? Asriel laughed, finally rearranging himself on the couch to get more comfortable. After a brief moment of silence, Az trailed off. You know, when we were kids, you always used to say things like, us weenies have to stick together. And I always thought it was stupid. If you think we're both weenies, why should we stick together? Sometimes, though, it's not such a bad idea, sticking to you. That is a brain-rot-ass prank. One of the weirder pranks, for sure, that have been conceived by mortal minds. Burger Pants choked on the saliva he didn't even know he had. Certainly this was a communication error, right? A memory flaw? He would never use the word weenie, even as a child. Yeah, that's an Undyne word. Wimps, sure, but he most likely said, us wimps gotta stick together, or some bullshit like that. At the time, he was more than happy to glue Asriel to his side. That was before he realized Asriel Dreamer was a wolf in sheep's clothing. What? What weenie? Az was a high-class filet mignon, a tough one at that. No, steaks should never be tough. He meant as in powerful, capable of absolutely shredding someone's ass if they so desired. A filet mignon, if you will, but not a slay mignon. How will the food metaphors return? Was he that hungry? When was the last time he ate, actually? Would it be too tactless to ask if the brownies and chocolate milk were there? Something about that? Yeah, sure. You were really cute back then, you know? You'd follow me anyway like a lost lamb. I wondered why things changed. Wait, when is he ever considered cute? Most importantly, now Burger Pants was the lamb? How did Az manage to work the sheep concept back into his train of thoughts? The fucking food brain rot. Did the wolf hide behind the sheep as a shield for his true nature? A wolf keeping a lamb? Did that mean Asriel was no longer a filet mignon, but Mary instead? How do you go from a wolf to a steak to an innocent little shepherd girl? Is this the reverse telling of the Red Riding Hood? No. This was all wrong. Focus. What did Azzy just say again? Oh my god, is Burger Pant high on the weed? He must be toking up on the blunt to make himself high or something. Maybe Burger Pants generates passive blood weed. Do you really want to know what happened with Bratty and me that night? The topic, Asriel's giving him nothing to work with. He was just like bombshell to bombshell to bombshell. No questions answered, only asked. Just drive that cat fucking insane. Why don't you, Azzy? The topic certainly grabbed Burger Pants' very limited attention and the way he nodded. And he desperately nodded. He just realized that he should be a decent friend this time, and properly speak up since Az was opening up to him again. Before he could think of what to say though, Asriel continued. Asriel's stun-locking him, yeah. This is Pizzapants' mind break, oh god. This conversation has gone nowhere yet gone everywhere at the speed of light, and I love it, says chat. It really has. They've talked about nothing while also talking about fucking everything. Again, it's the opposite of Yeek. She thought I was shy, so she didn't think anything of it when I asked her if we could go somewhere more private. She actually asked me to kiss her. I leaned up close to her, toying with her expectations, and then I sarcastically told her to bite me. I didn't think she would actually would, but I guess she didn't like being messed around with, or maybe it was because we were in the middle of Truth or Dare. She definitely won the game. I always felt she was, how do I put it? Wrapped in the story, Burger Pants quickly responded. Bold, forward, cute, superficial, and pushy, and obnoxious. But you can't choose your friends and neighbors, right? It's best for everyone to get along, even if they're far from perfect. You know what this reminds me of? It just hit me. What the style of writing reminds me of. It's like a stage play. Like a not Shakespearean, but like a more modern, like 20th century stage play. I haven't interacted with many of those, but like, this is what it's like. These really, really dense, weird conversations that kind of wind around each other. And they're quippy, but also like constructed. I don't know what gives me that impression, but like, wow. Maybe it's just because I'm reading it out loud and like voicing both characters. It feels like two actors on a stage or something. Might just be that. I don't know. But you can't choose who your friends and neighbors with, right, anyway? It's best for everyone to get along, even if they're far from perfect. There was that signature smile that had just made its guest star appearance many times today. Why did Az always look like he was enjoying it when he knocked people down a peg? Was he really that happy when he could finally express his true opinion? And what about that you can't choose your friends bit? Was that also a backhanded compliment? Well, he's right. They couldn't all be winners, could they? Some of them were weenies, apparently. Just because Asriel and Burger Pants was Asriel's... Just because Asriel was Burger Pants' best friend, that didn't mean that Burger Pants was Asriel's best friend. In fact, didn't there used to be another person? I don't particularly care for her, but she made me realize something about myself I'm not sure I could have figured out without that incident. When she bit me, I could feel her sharp fangs pierce through my skin, through my flesh. One by one as her jaw clamped down. It was like getting stabbed by a knife in rapid succession. I wasn't so much scared as I was stunned. For some reason, it was kind of nostalgic, almost comforting. I couldn't shake the feeling. What does that mean, Asriel? There's no good answer. Burger Pants could feel the cold sweat on the back of his neck. Was this a confession? Was Asriel really using this chance to confess that not only was he a masochist, but pretty freaky one at that? Does that mean he's already chosen to go with Bratty after all? I don't think that's the right conclusion, Burger Pants, but good try. Asriel sat up, causing a chain reaction of Burger Pants sitting up straight, obediently and facing him. He didn't know why, but this atmosphere felt super intense. It was like he was learning war secrets as a mere civilian. The Emperor stood before him in an invisible robe, and he was but a jester who couldn't dare tell His Royal Highness that he was in fact naked. Wait, why was he the jester again? Was it really that much of an upgrade to go from Bluey's jester to Asriel's? Didn't that still mean he was the clown? As if remembering something, Asriel chuckled. It seemed more menacing than anything. There's more to this story? When I first found Chris, they were obviously wounded. I wasn't sure what to do, but I'd never seen a real human before, and I didn't know if they spoke the same language. But they were obviously bleeding and needed first aid, so I had to do something. So I ran up and asked if they needed help. You know what happened next?
You found your mom with them and took him to the hospital, right?
Not immediately. Before I did, it was just me and them, isolated in the woods. I went up to them with the intention of helping them, but they shrank back in fear. They were scared of me, absolutely terror-stricken. I'd never known what that felt like before. I was still a child. I was never taken seriously by everyone. Everyone thought of me as adorable, plain and simple. So we've recreated Undertale. Asriel finds Kara, finds Frisk. Interesting. Burger Pants' eyes nearly rolled out of his head at this remark.
He said it out loud. He just called himself adorable like it was nothing. A fact of life. So you know that face of yours gets everything you want in life, hmm? Well, at least you're aware not so easy to come. Sorry. Well, at least you're aware it's not so easy to come to some of us. Yeah, we all know how precious you were back then, and how traumatized your sibling was before they became part of the family. Let it all out. I've come this far. I might as well hear everything before you drift off to sleep. Go on. I'm all ears. He thought bitterly, trying to judge just how foggy Az's judgment was, if at all. That part was a lie too, right? Or did he actually take something? It was hard to tell at this point. I don't know either. Again, I am Burger Pants. I have become Burger Pants. His every thought is my every thought. His perspective is exactly my perspective. There's no way there's 45 more pages of this. There fucking are. And I want to read them. I can't physically do it on stream, but like, I want to read them all. I'm going to finish this fic off stream, I swear to God. You know what I did? I straightened my back, I stood up tall, and I spread out my claws. Instinctively, as if I was trying to size up my prey and appear intimidating. I should say I didn't know it came over me, but somewhere deep inside, I did know. Oh shit. Asriel Dream is not only a hopeless masochist like his father, but also a sadist.
This couldn't be good. Asriel, what do you do? Just skimming over that comment about his father into the sadism remark. Loaded sentence, Pizzapants. What do you like his father? Just slip that in there.
This couldn't be good, Asriel. What did you do? What the hell did you do? No, don't tell me. I'm an innocent man. I don't know your secrets. I don't want to know. Please.
Burger Pants panicked internally, unsure of what he should even do at this point. Sympathize with Asriel? No, it was easier to feel bad for Chris. The key point was, as he really was very scary when he was angry. He'd seen that look in his eyes, much like his mom's that sent shivers down his spine. Even though I'd been pushed around by people stronger than myself, when the tables were turned, I had no problem enjoying the rush, but I didn't actually want to hurt them. I didn't intend to do anything. I told myself that if they were really scared, then they would just run away. I figured they would run anyhow. I tried to approach and help them, so I simply stood my ground, let them decide. But before I knew it, they ran up to me. They grabbed a hold of my arm and bit down, hard. Even though their teeth were so tiny and blunt, they tried the best they could. They couldn't even break the skin. If they managed to rip out some of my fur, it would have surprised me. Asriel seemed to be off in reverie, no longer bothering to look in Burger Pants' direction. It was such a pitiful move. Do you know how easy it would have been for me to swipe at them with my other hand and deal a harsh blow? But they didn't think about that at all. The only thing they knew was survival. In their world, another person meant another threat. It was such a narrow vision. They were completely helpless, most likely out of desperation. So I put my hand on their head and gently patted their hair until they calmed down. It took a while for them to let go. The jaw was clenched around, and drool soaked my arm like they were holding on for dear life. I actually wanted to hide them from my mom. I didn't want her to find out or to see them. I didn't want them to be sent back to the place they'd come from. Besides, I'd found something special all on my own, and I didn't want to share it. The rest, as you know, is history. My mom fixed them up and adopted them into our family. The decision made me happy, even though I looked at them as if they were my pet for the first couple of years. I don't really know if I've grown out of that mindset, actually. It's hard to describe. This is so much, dude. So much fucking character exploration occurring in all these non-Euclidean ways. I like the vision of Chris just being like child guts, essentially. Like every other human is just a threat, just this like feral child. It's oddly compelling. The synthesis of all Pizzapants media. This has gone beyond Pizzapants. I don't know if they're even like into each other at this point. They're just like in a room. It really is the Asriel and Pizzapants like stage adaptation, like a college stage play where they don't have a budget, and the whole thing has to be two characters in one room talking to each other. At this point, Burger Pants was actively clutching his head, and about time, Asriel made eye contact with him and gave him a smile. No, there can't be more, right? How can you top that? Was this a confession that the younger sibling was the gateway into his masochistic deviation? The thing that made him see stars for Bratty so suddenly? Pizzapants' mind is like it's just stuck in the horny jail for some reason. It's gone off the rails, unfortunately. Wait, didn't he hate her? Didn't he hate people who made him feel masochistic? Ah, so this was just a bad trip, right? Maybe a dream? A nightmare? Why was everything so scary all of a sudden? You haven't bothered to say anything for quite some time. Perhaps I did talk too much, Asriel pouted.
Too much. Yes, you said too much. It bothered me. It really did.
Pizzapants screamed into his internal void. Of course, he could never be like that to his friend. This was still Azzy, after all. He was strange at times, annoying in others, but never unkind. He couldn't be all that bad.
No way, Az. You know me. Always the diligent listener. How could I interrupt? What with you practically telling me a life story? Who wouldn't want to know? Fascinating stuff, really. So you and little buddy are connected by mutual feelings of vulnerability, right? And knew what it was like to be a small guy in a world full of bigger guys, so you put yourself in their shoes. It's not so strange after all, right? We're drawn to those we most resemble deep down. Usually. Maybe we're also drawn to people we admire or want to be like. In any case, you seem to be doing much better, right? At least you're not out of breath and incoherent.
Pulled that philosophical diatribe out of his ass? Damn. Asriel stared back at him with a blank face whose meaning was hard to discern. Was it boredom? Disbelief? Understanding? Did he actually feel unwell? I've still got a bit of a headache, and I'm a little dizzy and my stomach is upset. Should I lie down after all? As he stated plainly, as if he had suddenly turned back to normal. What? You can't just drop it all after, as soon as Burger Pants says anything, you just go back to, like, your default state, Azzy. That's... How are you supposed to converse with you like that? What's with that frail demeanor? Did Burger Pants hit the nail on the head by some stroke of luck, or was Az stupefied by the bullshittery just now? Was that intentional? Was that just like something that Burger Pants pulled out of his ass because he didn't really understand what Asriel was on about in the first place? Because that's sort of what it sounded like. That's really funny if so. Just like the most nonsensical response. Either way, it was good to have Mr. Hyde back. I kind of enjoy this, like, Burger Pants here, or Pizza Pants, or whoever the fuck. Dudley. He's, like, kind of a shitty at, like, understanding what Asriel is talking about, but that also, like, puts him in the shoes of the listener, is like, Pizza Pants isn't following along, and, like, I'm left kind of confused. It's like, Pizza Pants is confused right there with me, because he's kind of like shit at interpersonal conversation, it seems. Like, he's really not picking up like any of the subtext here. He's quite dense, is what I'm trying to say. But it's really cool. It's much more interesting of a dynamic than if he was just like an audience stand-in, like kind of sponge for all this information that would just instantly pick up on whatever Asriel was laying down and have the right response. Either way, it was good to have Mr. Hyde back. Wait, was Dr. Jekyll the good one? Why would they name the good one Jackal and the vicious one Mr. Hyde? Did the story folk call him Mr. Politely in hopes that he wouldn't get clobbered to death? In that case, it's easy to remember. Anyway, he was glad that Hyde switched off. The Hyde switch had turned off. Right, the little meter at the top of the screen depleted, and he went back to being Mr. Dr. Jekyll, like in the NES game. Something about turning the Jekyll off didn't sit right with him, or rather, turning the Jekyll on was a much better way to put it. No, it really wasn't. You don't want to turn the Jekyll on. Was this his tangle of word salad? What was this tangle of word salad he thought of supposed to mean? As he's less scary and seemingly tuckered out. Looks like the main events are all over. Maybe it was time to finally settle down for the evening.
Yeah, go ahead, make yourself comfortable. You'll feel better in the morning, I think. Anyway, I should have a pillow somewhere.
Just as Burger Pants thought he would finally be reprieved, Asriel slid off the couch and knelt next to him, almost asking for help.
Hey, bud, what's up? You're not feeling good? You need to go to the hospital after all?
In a way, you're actually pretty naive, aren't you? You're really going to let me spend the night here?
If you can't walk and don't want your parents to know, then sure. I mean, if you wanted to be honest, I know it's not the best condition to...
Asriel suddenly scooted closer, as if the rambling going on in the background was of no consequence to him. Do you know what I always liked about you? Liked? As in the past tense, not anymore? Hey, what was with a sinister vibe?
Well, we get along quite well, don't we, Azzy? It's like you and I are on the same wavelength. Definitely. There's also...
Asriel's hand overlapped his and grasped it firmly, pulling it toward himself. Burger Pants' eyes instinctively drew downward. The cold sweat on his neck came back along with goosebumps. What was this development? Were they about to get into an all-out brawl, or was this turning into some sort of confused shot made in the dark with muddled head? You can't make snap judgments like this. Actions have consequences, Azzy. Didn't your not sibling tell you that once? Asriel, please be good and wait patiently to feel better, or wait as a patient to feel better. Maybe in the hospital was a brilliant idea after all. If they seriously fought, Burger Pants would wind up there anyway. He's a bit dense. There is no wavelength, don't you know? I can read your thoughts. Whatever you have to say, it's written clearly on your face. You can't hide anything from me. The accent changed just there. Did you notice the accent changed for some reason?
Oh, Hyde. It's Mr. Hyde. I wish I could hide. These are fighting words, aren't they? I know what you're thinking, and I don't like how you looked at me just now, kind of thing. If we wind up in a boxing match, I could possibly get food at the hospital. They must have meals there, the patients, right? Maybe I could get a slice of cafeteria pizza, sit on it. Maybe me and Azzy could have a good laugh. Wrap all this up nice and tidy after all. Oh, wait, what am I thinking about even appealing for forgiveness if you haven't even fought yet? And I'm the victim. I didn't even get to eat my slice of pizza in the end. How cruel. Burger Pants' face grew taut as the crocodile tears dangled at the corner of his eyes. Whether it's his face or his mind, could it truly be red? What genre were they? Would the genres of his face even match his mind? What is going on? I love it. As if not waiting for a reply, Asriel continued. Do you ever have dreams of a past life, where everything around you is different, but everyone is the same? And when someone important is nearby, you feel yourself trembling from somewhere deep inside, like your soul can somehow reach out and touch them, like you're all tied together by an invisible thread. I have it all the time. It's the strongest when I'm around Chris. I can't explain it, why I'm feeling such overwhelming regret and joy and sorrow towards them, but I feel like I understand the meaning behind it. Like they're the key to everything not falling apart. An omen. We're connected spiritually. They probably feel it too, regardless of how I feel. No matter how much I try not to care, let these other memories get in the way, my soul won't let me forget. I can't ignore them. And I think Chris experiences it too. We knew each other before. That's a turn. I was gonna compare it to Yeek for a second, then I realized, like, alright, this is Deltarune. We already have the looming question of, like, what Undertale's relation to this game is. It doesn't have to be Yeek.
This is just the fucking canon, maybe. Who knows? This could be Undertale and Deltarune. This could be the plot. Who the fuck knows? Once again, Asriel was looking into his eyes, almost pleadingly. Part of me is concerned that catastrophe may occur, but I also feel grateful for the time that we spent together. Like it's turning over a new leaf. Anyway, Chris won't be around forever. I want them to grow up and have a normal life, but everyone knows what a normal life would look like for them. And with all that past resentment I feel towards them, I don't think it's the sort of life that should have me in it. I don't think we are meant to coexist. Something tells me we're the catalysts to each other's downfall. Can you understand what I'm trying to say?
Pizzapants? No. Me? Yes. I get you, Azzy. What a weirdly profound analysis of your previous life in a different indie game by Toby Fox. What's not to get? You guys are like soulmates, except opposite. Immortal enemies? No, more like soul hates. It's called a kismesis, I believe. But you don't hate them at all, right? That's why you feel so complicated toward the issue. You don't want to dislike your precious kid sibling, but you can't get along easily either. Not because you come from two different worlds, but because you fear you'll be their undoing. Sure, you and I might have some super special hotline to the soul like them, but we're both performers, right? Or we might not have this. There isn't a character in the world I can't dissect, maybe not always accurately, especially given all the curveballs that have been thrown my way today.
Pizzapants is going to make a Kara analysis on YouTube.com. Slapping myself to maintain lucidity.
Oh, what's the fear, Az? You're much stronger than them, and they obviously cherish you too. I think you both have similar goals. Live your life how you want. You only live once. Your matters should be chosen by you alone. How you can truly live if you're busy worrying about someone else. And if something goes wrong in the future, you can always fix it when the time comes.
Burger Pants hand-waved him verbally while simultaneously struggling to subtly take back his hand. Take back his hand from Asriel. Oh. Yeah, shut the fuck up, Cherry Pete. You stop apologizing. This is like the most... This has gotten like way more of a reaction than any other fix so far. It's like... It's a different genre. It's very compelling. Like it's... I've actually become like interested in the metaphysics you've cooked up. Like, it's hard to say if it's metaphysics or if it's speculation. The Courier New is a couple fics from Deltarune, and they're kind of like this, where they were made back in Chapter 1 when not a whole lot was known about the game. And they had to go really far out on a limb of speculating on what the game's themes would be, what kind of, weird shit would happen later. And they go really far out on a limb, and probably they're inaccurate, but I'm getting the same feeling from this, where you're taking a gamble and being like, here's a crazy Deltarune scenario, plot point thing, a big reveal in Chapter 5, who knows, but like, not for the sake of predicting it, for the sake of preemptively using that in an interesting story. It's really interesting, and I'm invested in it, even if it's not remotely connected to the games in the end. It's its own thing. It's not just Chris. They're the strongest presence. It's almost everyone in Hometown. I mean that. I feel connected to everyone somehow, even if it's faint. That's how I know what makes them happy, what their life goals are, what they're thinking. I'm connected with them spiritually, but I think I want to be physically connected with you. Whoa. Whoa. What a roller coaster of a confession. That's one thing that's not quite explained, I guess, is how did Asriel, by his metaphysical knowledge of Undertale, how did he get that he was supposed to ship himself with Pizzapants? I'm not sure that one tracks, but I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Whoa, what a roller coaster of a confession. There were ups and downs and screams for sure. So Asriel's spiritual hotline connects to most of the town? Most, but not all? Who is missing from the list? Terry. Forget speed dial, but is Burger Pants even in the contacts? The block list? And what? How do you even parse that thing at the end? Physical connection? As in not spiritual. I want to be connected with you, but only in person. Please don't contact me after this life kind of deal. Or was it like actually Az is hitting on him in the worst way possible? I think he's just hitting on you, Burger Pants. I think he's just hitting on you at this point. Pretty obviously, Burger Pants, like... What would ramp up to that? They had no chemistry, romantically anyway. Can't have romantic chemistry with a person you flunked out of 101, right? Az could have all the chemistry in the world, but 0 times 100 is still 0, isn't it? Or is a relationship like a report card, where you take the average from both parties? We have 50 chemistry, and I'm afraid it just won't work out for us. It's not even a passing grade. Good try. You can only carry the team so much. Oh no, the other hand was taken. That's 2 hands down. Is Burger Pants even into it, is the question. This is the first fic where I've seen, like, Burger Pants legitimately just isn't really even into the idea of a relationship with Asriel. Like, not even as, like, a repressed thought. It's just like it hasn't occurred to him ever. He's legitimately uninterested. I mean, he's acknowledged that he's attractive, but, like, I felt like it was a legitimately objective statement in his mind. That's 2 hands down. Does that mean Burger Pants is disarmed? He looked nervously at Asriel, the person desperately awaiting a response, and he managed to wheeze out, "Az, you couldn't possibly mean it that way, right?" What is that voice? "Az, you couldn't possibly mean..." That's Xavier Renegade Angel. That's what the voice has become. "Az, you couldn't possibly mean it that way, right?" Is that how Xavier sounds? I think it is. Honestly, in character, says Outsin. Is this the only fic that's characterized Burger Pants correctly by making him not like Asriel romantically? What a brain-melting concept. The key to the ship all along was that Burger Pants doesn't give a shit. Everyone's missed it. It was so clear. The whole time we thought it was the nerdy, well, not nerdy, the down and out loser pursuing the golden boy prep kid, but in reality it was the love struck prep kid pursuing the romantically oblivious loser. Wow. That's profound. It was Asriel Dreamer. Oh, sorry, Asriel Dreamer. With 2 U's. Dreamier, I think it's pronounced. Any person would be lucky to have him, except what do you do when you're not even in the same league as him? Not even in the same sport as him? Didn't take an extracurricular at school at all? No game whatsoever. Never in a million years has he considered a relationship with his best friend, and he hadn't even lived to be that old. In fact, he sometimes doubted the legitimacy of the best friend title. My analysis was correct, I think. Was it a hole punch reward card? Did he earn so many Azzy friendship points over the years that he can now trade it in for the grand prize? That's a dating simulator, Pizzapants. That's not real life. But he had never been with a girl yet. How would he possibly jump the line? Wait, does that mean there was a line for Asriel and Burger Pants? Simply, wait, does that mean there was a line for Asriel and Burger Pants? Maybe that's a typo. Simply felt it was common courtesy to date those girls first before he could have a shot with Azzy himself. That's a really funny way of putting it, actually. Oh, jump the line. The jump. Oh, I misinterpreted that. I thought I meant like jump the line into gay, but he meant like cut the line up to fuck Asriel, I think was the idea. Well, those line girls were the same ones in his friend group, weren't they? Is there a connection after all? His brain was melting at double speed, and he couldn't come close to comprehending the implications of his thoughts any longer. I find your teeth to be particularly beautiful. They're perfectly straight and flat. I can't imagine how it would feel if they were to sink to my neck. Okay, Asriel's kind of fucked up like that, but it tracks. It tracks from the previous conversation. With both Azzy's hands holding his own, saying these words in such an affectionate tone, how could Burger Pants be anything other than astounded? How did this situation get even more batshit insane? Azzy, the physical relationship you're trying to push me toward is simply a convenient way for you to satisfy your kink? Do you even think about your words just now?
How could you call me shameless? Az was a shameless one. Wasn't I always the rational one, trying to think things through? Well, aren't we back to square one? Wait, this clever asshole. He grabbed me, eliminated my flight option. Did he intend to trigger the fight-or-bite response instead? Clearly he's asking to be bitten, but in doing so, that would only give him joy and let him think I acquiesced to his demands. The thought just popped into my head just then. Not biting Asriel Dreamer is part of biting Asriel Dreamer. Jesus fuck. Clearly is asking to be bitten, etc. Is biting him permission to be used as a side piece for something meaningful? You can't just spring this all on a person in one day. I'm still digesting the stuff from earlier. I don't even know what issue to juggle first. That's how confused I am. It's all too much at once. Azzy, I can't. Before Burger Pants could properly reject, Asriel made a move. Burger Pants flinched, thinking that perhaps Az was going to bite him first. This has become such a thing for some reason. His body seized up, but only from Burger Pants' imagination going off the rails, I think. But it's so fucking funny. Like, how has he interpreted this as a kink? What are you doing, Burger Pants? I mean, okay, Asriel's kind of lead into it, to be fair. Okay, to be fair, I think Asriel is leaning into it at this point. Never mind. It might actually be a kink. Burger Pants flinched, thinking that Az was going to bite him first. His body seized up with expectations of impending pain, only managing to squeeze Asriel's hands tightly. However, it didn't happen. Before he could process the visuals, he heard the telltale auditory retching that he knew all too well from his own nights of overindulgence. Asriel Dreamer just waltzed into his house, bragged about his exploits with neighbors, revealed his belief in past soul connections, demanded he participate in his kink, and puked on his clothes. He really did spill his guts. I was talking about Night of Nights being the only Toho song I knew earlier, but I think it's easily the theme song for what's occurring right now. This is the Night of fucking Nights for Pizzapants and their relationship. How do you advance a relationship further than in this sitting? And not in just a positive direction. This relationship has advanced in all directions simultaneously at nauseating speed since Asriel walked into this house. Oh my god, did it get on my pants? Get on his pants? There was no way fate could be this cruel, right? No, Puke Pant. Was he able to get another ridiculous nickname out of the affair? How could he begin to recount his story? Asriel Dreamer came to my shitty house, and we got so plastered he puked on my pants. That's why they call me Puke Pants. Wait, did he get any clarification on what happened to Asriel after we stormed off? Did anything get explained tonight? There were a lot of details, but somehow everything seemed more up in the air now than it had been when he woke up that morning. Damn right, Pizza Pants. Like, what do you mean plastered? Neither of you have even been drinking, as far as I know. As far as I know, this is just sober Asriel Dreamer behavior. Is this what weed is like, says chat? I don't think so, usually. Well, in Tails Gets Trolled, it kind of is what weed is like, but I'm not sure about the reliability of that. I know it's Boss Baby vibes, but, you know, if this is reminding me even a little, even a smidgen, even a small fraction of the Tails Gets Trolled Weed Party arc, it's doing something right. It's a transcendent piece of media that will never be topped in my lifetime. Oh my god. Burger Pants looked down to inspect the crime scene. The evidence of Asriel's frustration hit the carpet with their arms still awkwardly linked together, forming a ring as if to frame it. Who said romance is dead? They were holding hands with the scenic puke side seats. Breathtaking, literally. The smell alone made him want to gag. Maybe they could make a game out of taking turns, seeing whose aim was more accurate. No, Burger Pants, don't do that. That's also an advanced fetish, probably. That's like... Actually, no, that's not really a fetish. That's just sort of just what Filthy Frank content was like. I watched all that shit.
Just, you know, 4 bros standing 6 feet apart, projectile vomiting on each other because they're not gay. A ring hurl, just like at the carnival, but obviously a lot less appealing and a lot less guaranteed each round. Thankfully, his clothes were mostly unscathed. Phew, no puke pants. Everything was going to be alright. Except for the cheap rental carpet. Or perhaps this too could add property value. A memorial site for where Asriel Dreamer first thought about leaving for bigger, better things. This is filthy Frank energy, yeah. Chad agrees. He's probably crossfaded. Yeah, you don't want to get crossfaded. I have very, very limited experience with marijuana, and let's just say 100% of it involved being crossfaded and having a very bad time. When he heard Azzy start coughing again, he snapped out of it.
Okay, bud, time to get up. We're gonna have to get you over the sink or something.
With their arms still interlocked, it was easy to help facilitate. Asriel back up and steady. Oh, it helped facilitate Asriel back to up and steady on his feet, carefully trying to sidestep the new addition on the floor. Just like with the events that happened previously, they shouldn't drag their messes around with them wherever they go. Predicaments with simple solutions should be dealt with first and foremost. Burger Pants brought his arm around his shoulder and gripped the far side of his waistband to keep him upright. He'd usually put a hand on his waist, but that still felt a little ambiguous about the situation from earlier. So Asriel's made it worse. Like, Burger Pants was not afraid of the gay until it was leveled as an option, and now he's like getting second thoughts about it. Asriel, meanwhile, had no qualms leaning on him for support. That's right, Az always had been a touchy-feely kind of guy, and this wasn't their first rodeo. That is to say, he'd had to wrangle Asriel and nurse him back to health a few times in the past. This shouldn't really be any different. Nothing changed. Right, it's not like Asriel changed. After everything is said and done, it really wasn't all that shocking. Well, for the most part, the issue was that he was really hung up on how much of this night he should be able to take to heart and what he had to chalk up to incoherent ramblings. Perhaps it was a prank, who knew? That was for him to find out some other time. He was so tired, he was running on empty at this point, and there was no way he could stomach another discussion. He really just wanted to eat something and couldn't go to sleep. Oh, and go straight to sleep. Maybe Az sensed his exhaustion too, as he obediently stayed hung over the kitchen sink while Burger Pants went back to clean the spot on his room. Yeah, man, get it all out, man. Actually, it's less the weed party arc and more the Porky Pig goes to the bar arc and Tails gets trolled. I hope it doesn't end the same way, though. Yikes. Huh, okay. To clean the spot, okay. After that task was done, he went back to the kitchen with a clean towel and threw it Asriel's way. Az stood over the sink with his hands in his face, splashing himself with cold water and graciously accepting the offering. Burger Pants slid out of his chair with his foot and helped Asriel sit down, gently patting his shoulder. It was a rough night for both of them. It's not like he could just kick his friend out when he was down. Maybe he should stay over after all.
Listen, Azzy, no offense, but if you try to kiss me with barf breath, I'll call your mom and rat you out. Maybe you'll be grounded for 2 weeks this time. I'm sure you'll behave now, right?
You know, I didn't mean for everything to happen like this tonight. You could have fooled me, Asriel.
Yeah, I know. You're just not feeling right, buddy. You should lie down, get some rest. You still want to stay over, or should I walk you home?
I think it's for the best that I head out. I'll be okay. You don't have to worry. But could I bother you for a glass of water first? Asriel smiled at Burger Pants weakly. Az was just using the sink, right? Was he too good to drink from the tap? Being plate, can't get his own glass himself, just wants to be pampered. Whatever, it was a simple task, and and it's not like he wasn't willing to indulge him a bit. Just a little bit more, but not a little bite. Burger Pants wanted the facepalm. Tonight really was the worst. You know, I'm actually really... Silence once again as Burger Pants went about the task of taking out a clean enough glass from the cupboard, intentionally eyeing Asriel as he turned the faucet and filled it with water. However, his friend's expression didn't change much. If anything, he looked to be in a better mood. Slightly annoyed, Burger Pants thrust the lukewarm cup toward Az's outstretched hands.
Go on and finish what you were saying. You were mortified, right? Regretful? Sorry? Perchance?
Thirsty. Oh, God. That's how Chapter 2 ends? That was all Chapter 2? I'm not reading any further. That's the last getting off point before, like, I go to fucking space here. I'm a bit speechless after that. Mind blank. Only Azzypants. Truly the peak Azzypants.